Maine resources. Yeah, so I'm going to start this session. I am Floreka Malual, and my moderator is Jessica Whittier, and we're just going to talk about resources for new Mainer. So I have Prosperity of Maine and Maine Community Foundation. So if you both want to introduce yourself, we'll go ahead and introduce yourself.
Which one? Who should start? Okay, I can start. Hi, everyone. My name is Ayman Mibaraka, and I am the Individual Development Account Coordinator here at Prosperity Maine.
And my name's Sienna Emery. I am the Scholarship Outreach Associate at Maine Community Foundations.
So basically, this question is just going to be for each individuals, and both of you guys can take turns to answer those questions. So you want to tell us more about your scholarship and what requirements that students, would need to qualify for the scholarship. So both of you guys can start, and other resources that you have for students.
Yeah, I can start. So we offer a number of different things. Most applicable to the people that would be on this call here would be our adult learner scholarship program. So in order to qualify for the adult learner scholarships, you only need to meet one of 6 qualifications. So you have to be over the age of 25 and or work full-time, have dependents, be financially independent, not have received a standard high school diploma, or have a delayed enrollment in college for a reason other than a gap year. So you only need to meet one of those qualifications, and all of our scholarships are open. We only require residency. We don't require citizenship, and we don't ask for FAFSA information. If for some reason you're not able to, or you choose not to submit the FAFSA, you are still eligible to apply for our scholarships. So you just have to be a resident of Maine. That's it. And we offer a few different kinds of adult learner scholarships. We have a short-term credential award that's for things like a workplace credential, a certificate, things that last less than a full semester. And those are rolling. You can apply at any time, and the decisions usually take a week to 2 weeks, so it's a pretty quick turnaround. And we also have the long-term award that's for more traditional academic pursuits. So for a 2-year school, 4-year school, vocational program, thing like that, that is longer than a semester long. We unfortunately don't support graduate studies, so we can't support like a master's or a PhD program. And that award has 2 deadlines a year, November 15th for the spring semester and June 15th for the fall semester. And it is renewable for a maximum of 5 years or 10 semesters, whichever comes first, and you can be a part-time or a full-time student. And then in addition to that, we do have a handful of scholarships that you will automatically be considered for if you apply for the long-term award, as well as, so those are scholarships specifically for adult learners outside of that program, as well as some funds that are available to anyone regardless of age. So for example, the ALS scholarship, if you are connected to anyone who has been affected by ALS, something like that, there's a fund for that regardless of what you're studying, how old you are, things like that. So that's a broad overview of our programming. But yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Thank you. Here at Prosperity Maine, we focus on the refugee and immigrants. So our scholarship is geared to those community. We have what we call Prosper Scholarship. Prosper Scholarship is our scholarship that is geared to the people who are on the asylum, who are asylum seekers. So they have to have, the qualification is that you have to show a pending case of your immigration to be able to apply. You also have to show that you can maintain a 2.5 GPA. And then the school has to be here. The school that you're wanting this scholarship to help has to be in Maine, and the school has to be accredited. Other eligibility is, of course, you have to be a Maine resident, and you have to show that you have either enrolled in the school or you're about to be enrolled by the time the scholarship funds will come to you. And this scholarship pays 2 years of the student. So it's your associate or your last 2 years of university. If you are in the university, however, like you are just started a university, you would have to show us how you will complete the other 2 years that the scholarship won't cover. And this is what brings us to another funds that we have here in Prosperity Maine for those who want to go to school. They can save money that will go towards the education, and Prosperity will match dollar for everything they save up to $5,000. And so, for example, for somebody who has who started university and got the Prosper Scholarship, but yet doesn't know what they're gonna do in the last 2 years, we put them on a track where their first 2 years will be paid by the Prosper Scholarship, and the last 2 years they can use what we call individual development account, where they will be saving to their school, and we will match dollar for everything that they have saved. Now, these are the two main ones that we have for funds for people who want to go to school. It is for the Prosper Scholarship, we match them with a mentor who will help them to not only have a good experience in the college, but also who will help them to figure out what they're going to do at the end of their school education. One of our pillars here at Prosperity is that we're trying to help these new immigrants, these new refugees, to understand the life here in America. And many of them don't have parents, they don't have people who have been, who knows the life here in America. So that mentorship component is very important to help them to chart a life after school. So those are the two main resources that we have for people who want to go to school, and how we help them achieve their career, their academic career.
And how much is the matching grant for the IDA? Like
The
how much do they
IDA.
have to, yep, the
Yeah,
IDA.
we match up to 5,000.
Okay, and that's for anybody. Do they have to be, is it for anybody or is it for asylum seekers and immigrants only?
Yes, it is only for what we call first generation immigrant. So if you can show us that you were not born here, then you qualify.
Okay, that's great.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the next question is what, so you guys talked about what qualities. So what qualities do you look for in scholarship recipient, and how does that set them apart from other candidates?
Oof, that's a toughy one.
Yeah. So I say this as someone who is not actively on a review committee, but from my perspective, in terms of trying to decide who to support, right? We would love to support everyone, but unfortunately there's just not enough money for that. So I would say that in applications, sometimes it's as simple as financial guidelines or merit-based guidelines, but oftentimes what sets applicants apart is what they include in their personal essays, and those kind of personal anecdotes that help get the committee get an idea of who this person is as an individual. Because the only thing that review committees know about you as an applicant is what's included in your scholarship application. And that personal essay is really the only point in that application where you can kind of pitch yourself. So it can be difficult to talk about yourself and uncomfortable to do that. But those kinds of, you know, explaining your extenuating circumstances, explaining your history a little bit, or why you want to pursue a certain education, that kind of thing, is often what might be the deciding factor between one person over another.
Mm-hmm. And I would like to chime in too, because I am, I don't know if you know this, but I'm part of the Adult Learner Scholarship Reading Committee. And I think sometimes it's like when students are filling those applications, you don't see the face. So
Right.
having that, you know, very touching, like also expressing yourself, but also being professional and kind of telling your story and letting them know, you know, like, hey, this is who I am, and having the committee visualize that person and their journey to kind of try to put a face in that. The only issue, and also with the Maine Community Foundation, if a student is like, hey, I'm not really good at doing essays, they can also do a video, correct? They can
Yes.
do a
Yep.
video as well. So a lot of ways students do have other options to kind of, you know, get their voices out there. And I know sometimes students do struggle. So that's why it's really important to have other individuals read the essays and kind of, because sometimes reading the adult learner scholarship, somebody would write, I want this money just to go to college so I can pay for my bills. And you're like, okay, that's great, but why? Let us know why the scholarship. What attributes of Maine, what contributions have you gonna impact are you gonna make in Maine?
Mhm.
So a lot of people miss that. So like talk about the state of Maine and how you're gonna pour
Yeah.
into the workforce.
Yeah. And use, you know, the people around you too, like have somebody kind of take a look at it before you submit it. Use those resources that are available to you to someone else might have suggestions that you didn't even think of.
Yeah, I would chime in there too. I mean, our application is very competitive. We have last year we had about over 80 people who applied, and only 12 people got it. And the way that people may say, oh, maybe this one got it because the other person knows it. It's actually a blindfold application. So once a person applies, we remove their names when we give it to the committee who will read their essay. So people don't know exactly the name. We just assign them letters A, B, C, D, so that the committee would not even know whose name is it. They would be moved by the story themselves. So I would chime in to say that write that reference letter that we ask, write it with add your story, make sure that your story is being heard. As Floreka said, don't just say I need the money because I need my bills being paid. Everybody wants their bills being paid, but what makes you stand out? You know, why should we help you for over these 2 years that we're going to be paying for your school fees and the books? Now, the other thing that that a lot of people miss is the deadline. We do have a deadline of March 31st, and a lot of people wait at the end to fill that application, to send in the paperwork, and sometimes because of the deadline, we have to ask them, you did not fill it correctly, and boom, the time is kind of cut short on them. So I would encourage people who want to apply to this scholarship, make sure you get in your documents on time, on time, because that's really, again, that's something that sets you apart, that you are diligent and that you understand that this is something that you want for your life. So as for what else I can encourage them is you yourself know the reason why you need this scholarship. So convince us that you are the candidate that should get these funds.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. The next question is, how does this scholarship program support students in their academic and professional development? Because I know you mentioned for Prosperity of Maine, you guys have mentorship programs and things like that. Can you elaborate more on that?
Yes, I can. It's actually one of I've seen it in person, how people's lives, students' lives were changed because many students, again, we're talking refugee, immigrant community, they come and they have an idea of what they want to go to school for. Some of them come from, that kind of culture where you are told you can only go to school to be a doctor, an engineer, or a doctor, an engineer, or a finance, And so they have that, but they don't really recognize that, is that really what I'm geared to? Is that really what my mind and how I function that I should be? So having a mentor who is, we always try to connect or to match the student to the mentor who's in the business or who's in the industry that the student is going to school for, so that they have those conversation of how is your normal day at work, so to understand, is what I'm studying going to actually fulfill me, or I have just this idea of how my life is going to be, and when I'm faced with the rhythm of reality, I'm just gonna crumble. So mentorship really helps them to not only do well in school and to pay attention to what classes they should really pay attention to, it also helped them to have a good idea of what is waiting for them outside of the school. Mentorship also helps them to, many of our community members, they don't really understand the importance of internship. They just kind of go to school and they are waiting for for that degree, to get that degree, but they didn't really understand that you need to have internship, which would open a lot of doors when it comes to your career. So the having a mentor is kind of really, they start having those conversations, but also the mentor becomes that guide who tells them, hey, this is the time to start looking for internship, check on this industry or look in this company. So it really helps them to be prepared once they graduate.
Are the mentorship just for the scholarship recipient, or is it for anybody?
Correct. It's only just for the recipient, scholarship recipient. Yeah.
Would you like to add anything?
On this specific front, unfortunately, we don't do a ton with continued we're more of like we don't do a ton with that kind of mentorship kind of stuff after you get the scholarship. We do depending on the specific fund. So with the long-term award and the short-term award, the adult learner stuff, it's more of just getting you there, getting you into whatever your post-secondary goals are. And again, that can look any kind of different version. It doesn't need to be like a traditional bachelor's degree program. We do have if you are applying for renewal, it does require that you maintain a specific GPA in general. But we do also, if you're exploring our funds, we do have a couple that are more, the committees are going to be more interested in kind of that fuller picture, I guess, as you're in school, as you're continuing your goals. So like, for example, we help manage a fund for those who are trying to set up a life in Washington County. You don't apply through us, you apply through a third party, but that one is more interested in how are you going to be involved in the community? How are you going to have this continued, kind of growth? So some of the funds are more interested in that, but as an organization, unfortunately, we don't do a ton with that one-on-one continued relationship.
Somebody had a question. They just said, so both of you guys can chime in. What other things does the scholarship help pay? Is it just tuition? Is it just like books, uniform, computer, childcare?
So that's a great question. Most people, when they think of scholarships, think of tuition and fees. And that is usually the largest portion of your expenses. But unless a scholarship specifically says like this has or whatever, it can be applied to any funds that are directly associated.
I think your volume is a little bit low. Can you put it up a little bit? You keep going out.
good? Can you hear me?
Yes, you keep
Okay.
going in and out.
Oh, weird.
Yeah.
Let's see.
We can hear you now, though.
Yep,
Okay.
you're good.
Yeah, sorry about that. I was just saying that unless a scholarship specifically says otherwise, you can use it to fund anything that is directly associated with your education. So room and board, books, lab fees, in some cases to transportation, funding to help the, yeah, anything that is a cost associated with, that is barring, that is associated directly with your continued education, you can use a scholarship for. Make sure you're really looking at the qualifications though. If you have questions for a specific fund, there's always a contact associated with a scholarship that you can reach out to ask those clarifying questions for a specific situation as well.
For Prosperity, the Prosper Scholarship specifically just pays for tuition and books. And those are the only two. As for health insurance or your computer and all of that, that would be on the student. Now, the IDA, the individual development account, it will pay for anything that has an invoice. All we want to see is just an invoice from school. So if you purchase a computer from the bookstore of your school, as long as it's an invoice that has your school name and you kind of show us that we're actually not paying you, we are paying the school, then that funds can definitely be used towards that.
So next, I know you guys touched upon this a little bit. So did we get something? Okay, somebody said thank you. Are there opportunities for scholarship recipient to engage with the organization beyond financial support? I know Prosperity of Maine, you said that you guys have the mentorship, the internship programs and that. For Maine Community Foundation, is there anything? I know Jackie mentioned they could work for the organizations, but there's nothing beyond that, correct?
Yeah, as it stands right now, we don't have any programs like that.
So what advice would you give to the future applicant to strengthen their application?
I would say that one thing, and this also goes for applying for schools too, you have probably done more things than you think you have to support your application. So even if you, like, they use the term transferable skills. So things like if you have to work full time and watch a child and now you're pursuing school, all of that is worth mentioning. Any of those, like, it doesn't need to, they talk a lot with traditional applicants about extracurricular activities and that kind of thing. It doesn't need to look traditional, but we want to, again, back like when we were talking about the essay, we want to know what makes you a rounded person. What have you been involved in, and really show us why is this goal important to you, right? And what in your life has led you here, that kind of thing.
On our end, I would advise future scholars to think deeply when they choose who's going to write their reference letter. So we have an essay, but we also require a reference letter. So many people, they just kind of choose, people who are their friends, but who can really articulate and show what this person has done, as the main was saying it. So think before you fill out that application, be thinking who is going to write that reference letter. And even if you need to kind of just sit down with that person and say, hey, I'm really going for this scholarship. I really want the scholarship. So put in your best foot forward for me, so that it's not, when the committee is reading this reference letter, they're not just kind of say, is this person even know the other person? So really think hardly on your reference letter. And again, I can't stress it enough. Essay essay is what sells you. So put in everything, as my colleague was saying. Think of everything you have done. It really shows as who you are. Like if you are, especially for our refugee and immigrant community, if you are here, but you are working double, not only working so that you can pay for your life here, but also send money back home, you know, that shows as some type of responsibility, that you're somebody who understands that life is not just about you, but you are also helping other people moving forward. That all adds a little bit color to the person that you are. Again, I have to stress it that when the committee is reading your essay, they don't know the name. They don't even know the name of the person, of the application they are reading. So anything you write in those essay and those references puts the shape, put kind of like helps the person to draw who is this person that I'm about to reward the scholarship. So stress on essay and reference letters. And send in your application on time. Ours is coming.
Yes.
To a deadline.
Also, with the deadline you mentioned, make sure you're giving your recommended, at least through us. I don't know how it works for you guys. For our online applications, you request your recommendation letter directly through the application portal. So make sure that in addition to you paying attention to the deadline, you are giving your recommender plenty of advance notice so that they can put their best foot forward about you. Because as you said, it is also a very important part of an application.
Yeah. That's the same too. The application is online and they can send in their reference letter through that portal. So it's very important that you check in with the people you've asked to write those reference letter, that they send it on time.
I had a question. So I know with the Maine Community Foundation application, you could save it and continue. Does the Prosperity of Maine have that option now? Because I was working with a student before, and I think once you start the application, you can't save it. Has that changed?
I believe it has changed.
Okay.
Yeah, you can save and come back. Yeah, and we do have somebody, our coordinator, who kind of is on the back end emailing people, kind of really, because we try our best so that many people can have at least a chance for the application to be reviewed.
Anything else you want to share? And also in the chat, if you people who are watching, if you have any questions, please put them in the chat or unmute yourself to talk and ask a question. Anything else you guys want to share and let us know?
I think I would stress, I know that I've spoke so much of the Prosper Scholarship, but if you apply for the Prosper Scholarship and you are not eligible, you're not given that scholarship, I will highly encourage you to not disqualify the IDA. Yes, the IDA doesn't give as much money as the Prosper Scholarship, but any money is important to help you move forward. So, and the good thing about IDA and Prosper Scholarship is even if you are given that scholarship, you can still apply for the IDA. So they kind of work hand in hand. So it's a really great, it's our greatest programs that we have here to help people who wants to continue in their education.
Awesome. This was great, you guys. I would say it's funny. I listened to this last week and I still learned more things today. So this was wonderful. Flo, do you want to share our website and what people can see if they visit the New Mainers portion of that? And actually, we have one more question. Somebody who works for the CSSP. What amount can you provide? So what is the scholarships amounts? And I don't know, Michelle, if you're talking specifically to Prosperity or Maine Community Foundation, or we could answer both. So like, what are the maximum amounts that you provide for students with those scholarships? If you've got a number for that, and is it on a case by case basis?
I believe for us, for the Prosper Scholarship is case by case because not every community college is the tuition is the same, or the person may not even be taking the same amount of credit, right? So, but what we do stress is that that scholarship covers for the 2 years, right? Cover both the school fees and the books. So if the student is so achievable and wants to take 18 credits or 20 credits, I don't know, we will
Ooh.
pay, we will
Oh,
pay.
that's wonderful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we pay for that as long as it's within that 2 year gap. As for the IDA, we can only match up to 5,000. So the person can, the highest that they can save is 5,000, and we will match that 5,000.
Beautiful.
Well, any other questions before we go on and share other content with the website? So if you have any questions, put them in the chat. Oh, okay.
Great. That's a great question. If you have a prior degree or a certificate from their country, we work with New Manor Resource Center, and they are able to actually translate your degree or some sort of a certificate that you've had to be able to guide you on how much credit or how many credit that you can take so that your degree can come up to the standard of the American education system. So if you do have that prior degree, please, before you go out and trying to feel like you have to start over, you might not need to start over. You might just need maybe a couple credits or classes. So I would definitely, I don't know, Floreka, if you know about the New Manor Resource Center, so they can kind of send you the link and you can meet with the people there.
Yes, and I would like to mention FAME also. We have a credential of value grant, and it's only for individuals. Unfortunately, it's for individuals who are becoming work ready. So people who only haven't received their work permit yet. So we used to have a grant through Maine Community Foundation, and that was for anybody who had a degree from a foreign country. But the degree program that we have now, the grant, is only for people waiting for their workers permit. So it's 150 days that they've been waiting, and they will just fill out the application. I will talk about more when we go on our website. But with the Prosperity of Maine credential degree evaluation, you guys are working with the New Maine Resource Center. Do you guys fund that? Because I know do you guys fund that?
We don't fund it. We just kind of work with the New Manor Resource Center. Those people who come to us and they say that they have a degree, we work with Barbara and her team to send the people there, but we don't have a fund for that.
Okay, perfect. So any other questions before we move on to the New Manor website? Okay, so if you have any questions, you can still put them in the chat. Thank you so much, ladies. You could stay on if you like or hop off. Really appreciate you for being here. So
Thank you so much. All right.
can everybody see my screen?
Yep.
Yes.
You're good.
Okay. Perfect. So what the information we have here is the New Manor website. And so when you go through the New Manor website, it talks about my information and kind of gives you a little info about me and that person that you're going to be working with. So what I was saying is that we have a lot of information. So we have getting ready for college, and basically getting ready for college is for individuals who, we talk about the different types of institutes that is available. Sometimes we have individuals who will come here and they want to know the difference between 2 year, 4 years, private, public, and things like that. So these information is available here on our site for them to kind of know. We also talk about the admission criteria and what other special programs that they have in their colleges. The other important thing that I really love about this site is when you go to paying for college, this is the part here. So if you're working with individuals who are like, I'm not sure if I'm eligible for the FAFSA, I'm a US citizen, they're unsure of their citizenship status, we have built in a skip logic questionnaire for students to kind of figure out who they're like, what their eligibility status is. So for individuals who are like, hey, I'm a US citizen, I'm an eligible non-citizen, I know my status, they can go here and fill out the FAFSA. They can click I'm eligible and it will take them to create a studentaid.gov account. For other individuals who are like, I'm not sure, we went through the process, waiting for a lawyer, all of this things that they might have going on, they can say, no, I'm not eligible at this time. So once they say no, they will be asked 7 questions. So for example, I'll ask you, are you a US citizen? If you say yes, it will take you to fill out the FAFSA. So if you say no, then it's gonna try to indicate like, okay, let's figure out why you're not. So it's gonna ask you, are you a US citizen? This includes the American Samoa or Switzerland island. So if they say yes, that will take them to fill out the FAFSA. If they say no, then it's gonna ask, are you a US permanent resident? Do you have a permanent resident card? And if they're like, oh, I don't know what that is, we have example of what those looks like. So if an individual's like, well, I have a green card, this is what a green card looks like. Or I have an I-94, it will show them what that looks like. And then if somebody was like, well, I have a card and it looks like this. So if they have a work authorization card, this will not be used for the FAFSA. So we have those on there. So if they say, no, I don't have that, and they say no to all 7 questions, then automatically they'll get this. Based on your answer, it appears you're not eligible for federal student aid at this time. So then students like, okay, what do I do? Then next, they'll have resources available for them. So resources will be school choices. We have questions of what students should ask their school to see if they can receive funding. We also put other resources for them to explore, like the US Promise, the adult learner, and then also for them to learn about admission policies, financial aid, and scholarship. So a lot of times I find that it's important for individuals to talk, the student to talk to the financial aid office, because mind you, they're not filling out the FAFSA form. So the college can't say, hey, Jim is not eligible for the FAFSA, so let's give him this scholarship. So if you speak to the college financial aid office, they can probably have some scholarships available for those students as well. And then also we have information on paying for college. And these information is for like pay as you go. So if students have parents or themselves are working, a lot of times that employer offers tuition reimbursements. So they can ask, there's questions you have to ask your employer to see what benefits that they offer you. And that could vary. And then other step is also talking to human resources about the educational benefits that they may have. And after, if that all fails, they can contact me and we can figure out different ways to pay for college. And we also have videos too on here. So there's a video on paying for higher education. And then we also have a video on how to pay for scholarships. And what I forgot to mention, so like, remember how students will answer all those 7 questions no? If they're like, well, I've seen a judge, I'm not sure, but I do have an A number, we have a tool where they can track their immigration case status. So they'll click on that, verifying a little bit, but it will take them right to the Homeland Security page, and this is where they can put that A number to check their status. So sometimes it will say case pending, case approved, or waiting, things like that. So once they get there, if their case is approved, you will just see that it's approved there. And sometimes it provides more documents that you can be like, oh, okay. So that is a really great tool that we have there as well. We also just put in information about scams and things like that. We want to make sure that people are aware when sharing their information online and etc. And then lastly, we have a scholarship section. And that scholarship section is for to check with your local school, teachers, guidance office, financial aid office, employers we talked about, faith-based institutes, your local organization, sometimes the library, town office, etc. There might be different scholarship. We do have a list of scholarship here for new Mainers, and these are a mixture of local and national scholarships that is available for them. And we also have the scholarship tracker that just created on here, so individuals could use that to save their scholarship. The fun thing is the credential evaluation, which we have, and sometimes individuals, it's a really lengthy process, and we have questions here like, why does that individual need to have a credential evaluation? Like sometimes individuals will have like their high school diploma. I suggest if an individual has a high school diploma and they want their high school diploma to get translated from their native language to English, that they use like the House of Language or our main local base organization. Like we mentioned earlier, the New Mainers Resources Center is really great. House of Language, because if you use the National Association for Credential Evaluation Services, these are big organizations that sometimes will charge a lot of hefty money. And I've seen that sometimes they even charge like, depending on how many pages you have, it's like a $50 a page to have it translated. So if you have one document and you just need to prove to the university that that individual has a high school diploma from their foreign country, House of Language, they're great. You can just go to their website, send them an email, let them know that you need a quote, attach your document on there, and then they will see if they need the original document. And then boom, I think 5 to 6 business days, they can have that ready for you, and then you can pick it up or they'll mail it to you. We do have the foreign credentialing grant, and I know I wish we had the one through Maine Community Foundation, but the foreign credentialing grant is for individuals who are becoming work ready. So for individuals who are waiting for their workers permit, and it's a lifetime of $1,000 for immigrants who are waiting for their workers authorization card. And the good news is that doesn't just cover credential evaluation. It covers, see, it covers, where is it? What is it used for? It can be used for cost of, to get the diploma translated, related fees for educational services. Like say if an individual had to travel somewhere to take a TOEFL test, if they need a TOEFL that is not available here, FAME will pay that. Of course, they have to provide documentation. Also, if it will cover fees related to obtaining a Maine's driver's license, because all of this is getting them work ready. So even CDLs, those will, even learner's permit, they will cover that. I had an individual who was eligible and she got this covered because she wanted to go to driving school. So she applied for the grant, she got a quote, and then she went to fill out the application. So the thing is, FAME, I think we're working through this, does not pay the organization itself, it pays the individual. So it's very important to have the documentations to prove that that payment is going towards those organizations. And also sometimes we have individuals who get their degree evaluated and they'll send us a copy and then a quote from the organization. So that's the part. It seems as it's a lengthy process. So first, they will find the organization they want to use, have the quote, then apply for the application. So for instance, if somebody applies for the grant who is eligible, and then they find that, oh, hey, the original amount it's not what it was, it's more, they can reach out to FAME again. They don't need to fill out another application. They can just fill out, they usually get an email, so they can reply to that email with the documentation of the need for more funding. And then sometimes we have individuals who don't have a bank account, so Maine works with usually the check tells you like where that individual can go and cash it, so they can do that as well. And if anybody has any questions as you're working with students filling out this process, contact me. I usually help individuals fill out the application process and also follow up with any questions that they might have. So these are all great things we have for the grant. And then lastly, we have our resources. And this is other organizations that the individuals can connect with. I know we have like 2 minutes left. Do we have any questions? So if you have any questions, go ahead.
We've got one just asking if FAME helps with the cost of English classes to help students prepare for classes or work.
We don't offer that right now, but I think the grant, hold on. The credentialing grant does cover, one of the qualification is, it does help with, so it does help the cost of, for people who are taking English classes, but it has to be individuals who are waiting for their workers permit.
Can you can you show me which line that is on?
Yeah, so cost of transition to English. No, I actually saw that wrong. FAME does not cover for English classes at all.
Yeah, so but I wonder if, do you think like the new not the numerator, but the adult learner scholarship could?
No, adult learner, I mean, yes, it will cover for like a short-term credentialing. Like say if they wanted
right.
to,
That
yeah.
wouldn't necessarily be, yeah, I don't know if there'd be a credential in that English class. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
But,
not sure, Joe. So yeah, that would be
so
interesting.
the thing is, the New Manor Resource Center does have free English classes available, and the adult education does offer free English classes.
That's true.
Those. And I'm pretty sure Prosperity of Maine also has, Prosperity of Maine has English classes as well, and financial literacy programs for new Mainers.
Perfect.
FAME does not pay for that at all, but we do offer supports. So with the resources that I said, also Hope Acts provides housing, English classes, and offer resources to immigrants too. So Hope does that as well. One of those, and then the English Language Plus Literacy Program, they offer those, they offer classes as well.
Oh, conversation classes. Oh yeah, those would be great. Yep.
And
so
then
we don't offer it, but we've got them on our website.
yes.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah. So I am just gonna brag on Flo for just a minute. Putting this resource together was an immense task. And I do think we have probably one of the best kind of centralized locations to find all of the information for new Mainers looking to access higher education or training once they get here. So this is a, great. Thank you for putting that together for us, Flo, because it's been invaluable.
You're welcome. And lastly, we have Q&As. So if you have anything that you're like, oh, the presentation didn't answer, Q&As has all of those questions over there for you and answers. So yes. I'm gonna stop sharing.
Thank you so much, Flo. This is wonderful.
Thank you,
I think
Jess.
our two co-hosts kind of have left, but that was wonderful to invite them as well. I think the program that we didn't get to highlight that is worth checking out is no, you're not the only one, Michelle. We've got like 3 others, but they're very quiet. But the USM program, Flo, can you just mention what that program is and how it works?
Oh yes, the U.S. Promise. The
Yes.
U.S. Promise scholarship is for it's for anybody, obviously, who is a first-gen college going, and that covers 4 years of USM, and that is available also for asylum seekers as well. We highlight that also on our resources page on our website. So asylum seekers could apply for that. Hopefully, we can get somebody here to talk about it next year, but that is a great scholarship available for those individuals. Are you sharing that link with them?
I haven't, but no, but I can. Yeah, let me do that. Let me find it.
So yeah, that's a scholarship, and it's renewable too. It's up to 4 years paid.
Okay, there we go. So I'll put that up as well. Copy, paste. Awesome.
Perfect.
So for those of you listening, it is going to be usm.maine.edu/the-promise-scholarship. We'll get you there.
Great. Well, thank you, everybody.
Awesome.
Any last questions? I know yep. I think right now it's prizes, right? We're done with the.
Yeah, so we're gonna stop that recording.